listening to the Punisher Waterfowls, the Union 0430 podcast. Brought to you by Real Geese Decoys, the most technological advanced silhouette decoys on the market. And Vortex Canada, the force of optics.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Union 0430. We've got a light crew here tonight, but it's going to be a fun time. And it's going to be, you know what? Some of yous are probably going to get your friggin' panties in a bunch because you're going to not agree with some of the shit that we say tonight, but that's all right. As long as you're not douchebags about it and you don't call us out too much, it'll be a good show. So Dave, you guys know Dave got injured, so he was at the hospital at his doctor's appointment today. So he's still recovering from that. Phil's working. Mark just moved. Ryan's got some stuff on the go with some family things. So we've got, third week in a row now for Bobby Hayes from Ducklander Calls coming. And I promise tonight I'm going to get Bobby to try and sell some of Ducklander Calls instead of just sitting back there and not really promoting his own brand. And we got Micah Collins coming to us all the way from the great state of Kansas, just down the road from Bobby, who owns Big Kansas Whitetails, right?
Yep, Big Kansas Whitetails.
Yeah, Big Kansas Whitetails, which chill out, relax. We're going to talk about ducks. We're not talking about deer, but he also guides for waterfowl. So that's why we got him on tonight. And it's going to be good because before we were chatting, we were talking about, or before we hit record, I should say, we started throwing out some topics and stuff, and it's going to be polarizing everybody. So it's going to be a good time. Bobby, thanks again, buddy. You're knocking this out of the park. You're getting us some fabulous guests and hanging out with us third week in a row. I love it.
No problem. I know.
No,
I know
yeah. Yeah, that's about as much as I get. No problem. Anytime.
Yeah, Bobby's a networking machine, man.
He is a networking machine, but he's so I'm like, thanks, Bobby. Thanks for all of this. I'll shoot him a message after this tonight. And I'll be like, man, thanks so much for this. I really appreciate it. Anytime. One word answers. That's about it. That's all you're going to get from him. So
I don't do compliments very well.
Well, you should. So Bobby, thanks again, buddy, for bringing Mike on. Micah, this is awesome, buddy. I can't wait to pick your brain on this because like we were talking before the show, we haven't had a lot of guides or outfitting services on the show. And the ones that we have had has been Canadian guys, with the exception of our good friend Jeff Coates over in Maryland. But what you're putting together, we haven't really had on the show. So it's going to be really cool to pick your brain and talk to you about this. So welcome to the Union 0430. And I hope we live up to whatever expectations Bobby lied to you about us. I'm hoping.
Well, so I think this will go good with the teaching aspect on stuff I do, because I think outfitters and guides are important.
Very much.
Especially if you're trying to hunt something that you don't have in your area, or that is an equipment heavy situation.
Yeah.
So I think it'd be a good thing if just people know more about what to expect, what you're supposed to do at them. It'd be good for just good general conversation about waterfowl.
And you know what else? And that's all true, what you said about the good things about an outfitter and a guide. But sometimes it's nice to just sit back and let somebody else do all the goddamn work for you too.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Especially big time. So Micah, buddy, welcome to the show. That was actually the very first question I wanted to ask you was, what is the species? What's the most abundant species that you're targeting in Kansas? And I can't believe I've never ever asked Bobby this question. So
yeah, so it really depends on the time of the year. I mean, if you're early season, it's gonna be mostly brown ducks. That's just early.
But what are you calling brown ducks?
I'm calling them like gadwalls.
Okay.
And, you're gonna get some teal and stuff like that.
Okay.
For me, my waterfowl season really doesn't start till after deer season.
Right.
The second week of December. There's a lot of guys out there like Bobby that's hitting it in November.
Mm-hmm.
But my ideal is time is second week of December, third week of December, peak migration. You know, you get a lot of big ducks, you know, mallards, you know, you're gonna get some pintails.
There you go.
You know, a lot of Canada geese, you know, some lessers, specks, you know, those are the kind of the main species of birds that we're chasing around here, around our lodge.
Okay.
But
And Bobby, like we've had you on in the past, and that's when you talk about, because you throw out this term all the time, small geese and big geese, right? And that's what you're talking about. You're talking about lessers and Canadas, right?
So Micah's lodge is probably 15 minutes from my shop.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he's in more big goose country.
Okay.
If you just go a little further west, then you start to get little geese. If you go a little further west, it turns into all little geese. But just where I'm at, we have about, I'd say it's getting pretty close to 50-50 on little geese and big geese.
Okay.
And I don't know, Mike, do you think you guys are 30-70 now?
I'd say that, you know, the little geese, you know, as lessers, or some people call them cacklers, you know, they're moving east, you know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They were further, their migration is moving more east, you know, I'm seeing more of them every year. So
yeah, we're starting to see we're starting to see crane pushing in to our side. And like, so if you think up, like I'm directly above upstate New York, right? Like it's a stone's throw away. All I had to do is just cross the St. Lawrence Seaway and I'm in New York, right? So you think about that crane Sandhill crane has now made it this far east, and our snow geese are every year it's a bigger number that's coming this way, right? So there is, you know, we're seeing a difference in the birds. I still have not got a sprig yet. I've never seen a sprig. I've shot bull pintails, but never late in the season when the sprig is out, right?
So they must be gone. They must be gone by December 10th then on you.
I would think even earlier than that, buddy. Like Micah's saying, when he's saying he gets into them around December, like that is prime for us. Okay. Like that is prime duck hunting season for us. Our only problem is that we're starting to freeze up at that time. So they may just fly, or if we get an early frost, like we may just miss the migration might just pass right over us.
So I don't have any scientific evidence on this, but this
should be good.
This is what I see. So we will get our first push of mallards usually right around Thanksgiving.
Okay.
We'll get some, but that's when our brown ducks will start to turn green. So the limits will start to go from brown and some green to slowly to all green, right?
Okay.
And so basically for Thanksgiving in the month of December, a lot of the flocks of greenheads will be fairly mixed with hens.
Okay.
But then we'll get a hard freeze where you can walk on the water for a day or two, usually around New Year's. It'll be zero. Like every year around New Year's, it's zero, right?
Okay.
So then it gets icy and then you get a little thaw. And then our January ducks are usually bachelor flocks.
Oh, really?
So it's, like you do, like you don't have to try to shoot greenheads. You're unlucky to shoot a hen out of them. Right.
Oh, okay.
So I assume that is the young duck of the year that doesn't have a mate and didn't know where it's going and they hang back. But that's also when we get those like big bull sprigs.
Okay.
They're in those groups of male mallards. I assume those are year twos that aren't well versed in mating yet, and the ones that are know what they're doing, so they pair bond and migrate sooner.
Okay. I'm glad that you said that, because I was really going to ask you, well, why is it going to be bachelors? And I really didn't even think about the fact that they just haven't paired up yet.
Yeah, I just don't think they know enough yet. But like I said, I don't have any science. But like when we're shooting those little rivers or creeks or dry feeds, like nobody's trying to shoot drakes. It's just, you don't have to worry about it.
Really?
Yeah, it's just a lot of greenheads.
Micah, what are you seeing like when you get clients coming in? And I do want to get into the lodge experience and everything with you, but like, do you get people calling you up and say, listen, I'm looking to shoot Canadas, or I'm looking to shoot pennies, like are people calling you up and saying, listen, this is what I'm targeting. Can you get me on these birds?
Yes, they ask that. They ask, hey, in your area, your flight path, what is the main species? And I tell them, but if they're looking for, certain ducks that I don't have, or certain, birds, I tell them, hey, you need to go call this guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're going to target, ducks and geese, and that's what we do, and it's mostly mallards and, maybe some pintails and gadwall, and then, your big geese is our big thing, so.
So how big is your operation? Like how many people can you accommodate on a day?
So right now we're doing 10 hunters a day.
Wow.
We split up in 2 groups of 5, unless the group does not want to be split.
Yeah.
So we're doing about 10 a day, and we're doing them, in a 3-day package. So
wow.
they get 5 hunts out of the whole thing with all meals and lodging.
So yeah, so talk us through, because I know when me and you and Bobby talked a couple of days ago, and you're describing the bed and the food, I'm like, yeah, now we're talking. Like, this is, you're sleeping on a good bed, you're eating good food. Like, talk us through the lodge experience coming out with you guys.
Yeah. So our lodge is top scale. I mean, it's unbelievable. I mean, you're not paying for just the hunt, and you're not coming back and eating, a bologna sandwich or some slop or some soup. Our fees are a little bit more, but this is what you're getting. You're getting the full on lodge, and, all the banter, the laughter, the big fireplace, the outdoor entertainment system. And it's just, it's a great time, and a great place to bring your friends, family, and work colleagues, a great place to network, so I do a lot of things with corporate groups.
Yeah.
And guys love to have steak. They want steak. They want to be pampered, so as much as we're out there, having a great hunting experience, we're also coming back, and we're going to have a great time at the lodge.
Well, that's a big thing. Like you just said, you cater to this corporate, like a team building event. Yeah. Like if you're a corporate and you want to bring in your, let's say your top executives, like what better way to have a team building event where you put everybody out, do some hunt, come back, eat good, have a few drinks, be warm, comfortable bed. I don't know, buddy, you got me sold. I can promise you that.
So last year when I was at the lodge, I was down there with some riders. Micah was hosting Tetra and some of the writers, a guy from Outdoor Life and Ron Spomer. And so anyway, they had an absolute pile of food. They've got a giant island. There's burnt ends, there's steak. What was on that thing? There was a pile of yeah. And I mean, it's not like cheap. Yeah. I mean, it's like expensive meat, right? There was cookies, sandwiches, like it was buffet.
No one was going to bed hungry.
Oh God, no. I ate probably 4 pounds of burnt ends.
Yeah.
I mean, they're them good ones that have the fat in the middle of them.
Yeah.
Anyway,
pork belly burnt ends. That's
they're amazing. So anyway, after everybody left, I asked Mike, I was like, "Hey, did you just have something special out for these riders?" He's like, "No, it's just all the guys. This is what we do."
Yeah. Every night. Yeah. My wife, she does all that. And
really?
Oh man, knocks it out of the park every time.
Sounds like it. So Micah, sorry, go for it, buddy.
I was just saying, when we're out in the field, sometimes you got a guy down the ways. He's like, man, so what's Abby making back at the lodge for dinner? Dude, we just had lunch.
Yeah. When the rain is like that sideways rain is coming in at you. Like that's the only thing that's keeping you going, man, is knowing that you got that hot meal coming for you when you get back.
Did we have shrimp that night? There was something.
Dude, I don't know.
It was steak and something and a big baked potato with all the stuff. But yeah, it's a ridiculous amount of food.
Yeah.
Micah, I was going to ask you, like, for me, and this is just my mentality when it comes to this stuff. So if I'm going to Like I've hunted a long time. I've done it on my own a bunch of times. Like that's all I ever do is on my own. I hardly ever go with a guide. But when I do go with a guide, do you find it that fellas don't really care? And I don't want to use that as though they're throwing their money away, but the lodge life is what sells them. Like you can get put on birds. Like birds are birds. If you're in the flight path and if you can hide, you can put people on birds.
Yeah.
But that the lodge activities, the good meals, hot shower, comfy bed, the laughs and all that stuff. Do you find that people are appreciating that stuff more than being put on a pile of birds? Because I know for me now, going back to the lodge and sitting back and having a glass of whiskey after having a steak, that to me that's the cream of the crop right there.
100%. I see a lot of guys that are wanting the lodge experience.
Yeah.
And we're out there, we're grinding, we're doing our thing, it's hunting at the end of the day,
Yeah.
But we're putting guys on birds, we're making some piles.
Yeah.
But these guys, they love it. They love the whole lodge experience.
Yeah.
And it's like you said, it's everything from the beds all the way up to plenty of room in the lodge for people to spread out.
Yeah.
They can go over to the couch in the game room and be able to talk to their family without hearing all the banter in the living room.
Right.
Or all the banter out by the fireplace. There's just plenty of room for people to do what they need to do,
Okay.
And say you and Bobby were down there and wanted to have a one-on-one conversation and everybody's watching the football game, you guys can go off to the side and have a conversation and do what you need to do.
See, man, you're just selling it even more. I got to get down there. I don't know how in the hell I'm ever going to be able to get down there, but it's like, I got just as much chances of getting to Kansas to hunt as I do getting Bobby up to Ontario to hunt.
You just get in a truck and point it south.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You're welcome anytime.
I know, buddy. I know. And I appreciate it.
I think gas gets cheaper the further south.
Oh, it definitely gets cheaper the further south I go. That's for sure. But no, and I don't want to take away from the fact that what I said just then, that fellas don't care about the birds. Listen, of course they want to shoot birds. They want to see the piles and they want to be able to take meat back home. But what I'm getting at is that that's not the most important thing to them anymore, especially if you're with a bunch of your buddies and you're there. Like, I don't know, man, back at the lodge, that's when the stories come, right? That's when your buddy who missed the shot at 10 yards that should have been lights out to finish the limit for the day and he totally whiffed on it. Like that's when the fun stuff comes out, right?
Yeah, it's where all the memories are made, honestly.
Yeah.
You're making memories out in the field, but there's a lot more memories made at the lodge.
Yeah, big time.
How many square foot is the lodge, Mike?
I don't know.
It's a big one.
It's a big lodge. There's probably, I'd say 4,500 square feet.
Okay, I was gonna guess 5.
Yeah, about around 5,000 square feet.
Whoa,
it's a big one.
Yeah. That's a big lot. Micah, how old? And this is something. So this will go on YouTube, and then it also goes down for just a podcast, so people won't be able to see. So for people that are just listening on the podcast and not actually seeing, when you see Micah is not a grizzled old outfitter. Like, this is a good looking young man. And so you're putting out and it's something to be talked about, because it's impressive that at a young age, you're able to put together a lodge experience like this, a hunt. And it's not just waterfowl, right? Like, you're across the spectrum, deer, turkey, waterfowl, the whole gamut, right? So how old are you and how long have you been doing it?
So I've been doing it first off, I'm old, I'm 28, don't look 28. I'm only 28. And then there's, I've been doing this since 2016 is when I started Big Kansas Whitetails. So we've been at it, and I've been hunting for quite a while.
Right.
And, it's my passion. It's the guide's passions, my wife's passion too. She loves to she loves to host.
Right.
You know, she loves to see people enjoy their time, you know, and everybody that comes through our lodge, it's our outfit, they become family, you know, they're, you know, our best friends. We talk all the time, you know, we're,
That's
you know, just
awesome.
always
Hey,
in touch.
hey, Bobby, I think you need to organize some sort of retreat at Big Kansas Whitetails.
Just drive south.
Send me an invite. Yeah.
Drive south.
No, but that's awesome. Like 28 years old. So 2016. So that's what, 6 years ago? So 22 years old to start an outfitting business. Like that is a pretty big risk, and something to jump into at such a young age, right? So to be able to make it work, it says a lot about you. It says your work ethic is second to none, obviously, because anybody that's been around this game at all knows how hard it's got to be, especially. So this is something that I want to get into, because part of the show, one of the goals that Dave and I have with the show is that we try to educate people as much as we can. And we say it, we don't do it on our elevator pitch when we're talking to other businesses, but we tell it to other people. We're like, listen, we're trying to teach people to not be douchebags to other people out in the hunting world, right? And so difficult customers, difficult people that you meet day to day, that's just out to make life miserable for you, because God knows we're living in a society where there's a ton of people that's like that now. But with regards to, and I think, Bobby, you sort of alluded to it before we hit record, like, what is it, like, what do you want to tell potential clients what they should expect from a guide, so that they don't walk away, you know, all grumpy pants and saying, well, this was the worst guiding experience I've ever had?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say that, you know, the experience from a guide, you know, guide standpoint. So I'm the outfitter, you know, and I'm all out there doing it with the guides. I'm out there scouting. I'm out there hunting with them, doing what I need to do. But I'm also taking care of landowners. But the guides, they are doing, I would say, just as much work, if even more than what I'm doing, you know, because they're out there hunting, setting up, you know, helping clean birds. They're taking care of the clients. But, you know, like you said, you're always going to get a difficult group or difficult group, but that's part of doing business in anything. You know, you're always going to have I guess, what would you say? Like people that are just out to eat, you know? And you have to overcome it, be the bigger person, you know, turn the cheek and see how you can change that. You know, how can you make it better for them? How can you know, because this is a service, you know, but that's what we're doing. We're providing a service. Right. So we got to do whatever we can to make this the best experience for you.
Yeah. So I get it.
So go for it. You have guys down for 3 days. They're not going to get a burner every day. That's unrealistic. No, so like what should a guy expect other than your best effort?
Yeah. A guy should expect, you know, 1 to 2 burners, you know, out of the whole trip. I mean, or, you know, and when I say burners, I mean burners, you know, we're building a big pile, you know, and then there's the groups where we've done burners every day, you know, that's our goal, is to make sure everybody's put on birds. You know, we did really good last year to where we were, you know, constantly clients were shooting guns every day. You know, we were shooting, you know, maybe 20 one day, and then, you know, the next day we were shooting 60, you know, it just varies, you know, but at least they're not going 3 days of not firing a single shot.
Right.
You know, we're doing what we can, and, you know, we're putting in the work and our ethic, you know, it's just,
that's the thing for me. Like, and I've got limited experience with outfitters and guides, but to me, I always looked at it, are they putting the work in? And that's like, if the birds don't show up, like, you can't control the birds, but if the work, if the the effort is put in to find the birds, and they can call and they know how to set up a spread, and they can hide, and the birds don't show up, well, then the birds just didn't show up. But it's not on the outfit or the guide's fault that, they haven't been able to figure out how to control the birds yet.
Yeah. I mean, there was days last year I can remember where, we've had some warm weather and the birds went to go feed, we're hunting fields, if it's, or ponds, lakes, water, whatever we're hunting. But I've had it where before birds are sitting on, like, let's say a refuge, or what I would call like a rock quarry that we use as a refuge. And they're coming off there. We're going to go, find out where they're feeding, where they're showing up 5 or 10 minutes after shooting light, just late flight. There's nothing we can do about it.
That's right.
That's all in with what's going on with the birds and what the weather is.
Yeah.
So there's those stall out days where the birds don't need to feed because it's warm out.
Yeah.
So, and in those cases, I feel that I need to, help the customers or the clients. And I say, hey man, I have an opening. Can you be back here the first weekend of February?
Right.
Let's do this. I want you to get your money's worth.
Right.
We're getting the lodge experience and everything, but hey, the hunting experience was really tough. I have this weekend open, or I have these 2 days.
That's
I know
awesome.
you got to commute back down here, but hey, let's get back out here and give this another try.
That's awesome.
So we're out there just to, have fun and, build relationships and take care of our customers. So.
Absolutely. So so let's say, I don't know what your turnaround is. Is it Monday to Wednesday, a reset day, and then go Thursday, Friday, Saturdays? Like, how do you normally run it?
Yeah, that's usually how it works.
Okay.
There's certain groups that will ask for, a couple extra days for travel. So,
okay.
3-day hunt, and they're saying, hey, can we arrive at noon and, have an extra night and, an extra day for checking out.
Okay.
And we accommodate that as well, but it kind of messes up our schedule
right
a little bit. But then so we'll take maybe a day or two off to get us back in schedule, which is a good break,
Yeah.
for
well, of course.
And it's also a good break for our birds too. When you're doing 1 day or 2-day turnarounds, you're still, giving those birds a little bit of a break and kind of figuring out what fields they're going to go into now or what water they're using. It makes our success a little bit better. So,
yeah, like you're trying to manage the population as best you can so that, I totally get what you're saying, buddy. I totally do. Bobby, did you have something?
Nope, keep talking.
Oh, okay. I thought you want. I did want to talk about, and maybe you don't want to talk about this, Micah, and that's totally fine if you don't. But like the whole guide outfit, like I understand it's a business, but so I'll give you an example. Up here in Ontario, tomorrow morning I can wake up and say I'm a guide, and I can make actually, you may not notice, but this is how Punisher Waterfowl started. I literally made a logo and made a Facebook page and pretended to be somebody in the waterfowl industry so people would invite me out to go hunt with them, because I was always getting posted around being in the military, and I never had access to public land when I would get to my new area every 3-4 years after I was moving. So I lied and I made a page and the whole bit, and then people started asking me what is it I actually do, and that's when the jig was up and I actually had to come up with a business idea and do something. But like when it comes to the guides, like this is what I think is one of the issues in Canada when it comes to guides in Canada, because we don't have a ton, because we don't have the flight, especially here in Ontario, that say the prairie provinces, the pothole region, the Midwest of the United States. But when we do get a legitimate outfitting service here, and then they say, well, it's going to cost you for 3 days, it's going to cost you $1,500. They look at Damien now, who started up rinky dink guiding service, and I'm only charging $100 a day per shooter, they compare me to, or they compare the legitimate outfitting service to me then and say, well, why are you so expensive when Damien is so cheap? This is a really long-winded question. So I think people forget, if you're running an outfitting business, how much expenses and responsibility falls on the owner of the outfit. Does that make sense what I'm getting at?
Yeah. Yep. I mean, Kansas is the same way, it's like,
Okay.
Anybody can come to Kansas and, start an outfitting business or a guide service.
Okay.
But there's talk of change of that, which would
Okay.
be, but I think that would be the best thing, because it's going to get rid of those fly by night people,
Right.
and it's going to make a better name for the people that like us that are doing it right, that are paying for insurance and actually have like a tax entity and EIN, and we're doing it the right way.
That's right.
We're not just, saying, hey, $200, come hunt with us for the day and meals and lodging, and you're sleeping on the guy's couch.
Right.
Our rates are higher because you're getting the full experience, and
That's right.
we have expenses,
Yeah.
and our guides, we got, the guides have day rates, and, they're also after, the tips, so they're working for.
Yeah. Good. Very good point.
And good tips, so
Yeah.
it's one of those things is, if you're wanting the right experience, the right, outfit, don't be afraid to pay for what you're going to get. I mean, it's just with anything,
Yeah.
if you want good quality, you're going to pay for it. It's like buying a steak, you're going to buy a New York strip, or you're going to buy the filet or ribeye,
Right.
you're going to pay more for that.
Yeah.
So
you brought up a really good point. So when you talk about the tips and like you being the owner of the outfit, like you don't see the tips, right? So like the tips go to the cooks, they go to the guides, right? So, and because this doesn't affect your pocketbook, I feel comfortable in asking you, like, what would you, if you were to advise somebody that's going on a hunt, that's paying a guide, like, what would you say is a reasonable amount to pay to give a guide a tip?
Yeah, and that amount varies with, whatever hunt it is. If it's a big game hunt, waterfowl hunt, or whatever, the suggested amount is, minimum 15 to 20%, and that takes care of the guides and the cook, and that split it up. So like, say I have a group of 10 in, there's going to be 2 guides plus me and myself and my wife,
Right.
cooking, or somebody else in there cooking if she needs help.
Yeah.
So those 3 people or 4 people are splitting that whole group's tips between all of them.
Yeah.
So, and they have to make money. They're working just as hard as
100%.
if not more. So
Yeah.
it's just part of it. So
yeah, and I think this is where it comes into when you can sit back after a guided hunt, and you can sit back and go, he definitely did whatever he could do to get the birds into us. It wasn't from a lack of effort. That's when you say, listen, like he definitely worked, he or she, whatever, definitely worked. So 20%. But if you break it down, and I never thought about it like how I'm not opposed to giving tips, and I've always tipped, but I've never thought about the fact that tip is broken down even further. So let's say it's 20%.
yeah.
Well, then, okay, so there's 2 guides, a cook, and then whoever else, that's 5% for each one of them, really, right? Like if you break it down like that. So when you're thinking 20% to the, no, it's not just the guide that's getting that 20%. That gets split even more. So I never ever thought about that. So that's a really good point. I never ever thought that way.
And don't forget, so I don't guide, but I hunt about every day, right?
Yeah.
So Micah and his guides, they hunt about every day. The amount of equipment that you go through daily is ridiculous. It doesn't matter how good it's made.
That's right.
You're going to go through waders. You're going to rip coats. Your dog has to be good. The dog's expensive.
Mhm.
You're going to go through a shotgun. I mean, it's just
Your vehicle, your trailer, your decoys.
Trailer. Yeah. It's all an expense, man. I mean, it's wear and tear, you know.
Yeah,
So-
so I went out to Saskatchewan. Ryan's part of the show as well. Him and I went out to Saskatchewan probably in, I think it was around 2016 or so. We went out there, and I tell you, this is the one thing that blew me away, because this was really my first real guided hunt. And the scout vehicles, because they're so hard on their vehicles, just doing the scouting and everything, all was Honda CRVs. That was the scout vehicle. They could fix them for nothing. They last forever. They can beat the shit out of them, but yet their truck with their trailer, that only went out on the day of the hunt. Scout, CRV, and it was an all-wheel drive vehicle. They could do, easy on gas, hardly any maintenance.
When you live on gravel and you're in a field a lot, you will wear trucks out.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So
you just will.
I remember I jumped in a truck and I was like, Jesus, how many spare tires do you need? And they were like, two. We never leave Lodge without 2 spare tires.
Oh no. Yeah.
And I was like, what? I was just, those are the little things that nobody thinks about, right?
Oh yeah. I can tell you a story about last year, man. I mean, brand new. I had Mickey Thompson's on there, brand new.
Yeah.
I got a big truck, you know, they're 37s, you know.
Yeah, well, you're a big dude too.
So, and we're rolling out. I go into this field, man. This hedge stick, you know, it's about as big as my thumb, goes right through this tire, brand new tire. And I was pissed, you know. I was in the middle of chasing birds and trying to figure out where they're going, and it turned it into a whole midnight project. You know, I threw another tire on there, wasn't balanced. Couldn't get it balanced because I had a group rolling in. So I'm 3 days in and this truck's just rattling my teeth. But I mean, but there's times last year, you say, you know, you're rolling around in a all-wheel drive car. Yeah. There was times last year where I was driving through 3-foot snow drifts in my truck with a 20-foot trailer behind me, barely making it down the road. You know, I can't do that around here with a little car.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah. So that's the thing up there. Once the cold weather, soon as that first snowfall, that first cold weather hits like Saskatchewan and that, no birds, they're long gone. They're headed south then. Right. So they don't really have the need for, and they don't get the snow either. They just get cold. But yeah, like, and those are the little things that nobody really thinks about until they're in the situation when you're like, why do you have 2 spare tires? Yeah. Or why am I sitting next to the second spare tire in the back seat of a CRV? Well, because I've got no other room for another spare tire in the trunk. So you're cuddling with that on the drive for the scout this evening.
Yeah, no, these boys will go through a lot of stuff in the season.
So, you know, like the wear and tear, and that's Bobby, we talked about it, just the costs, like what we're anticipating the cost of equipment this year is going to be. Like Micah, I by no means am I trying to get into your personal finances, but like with the increase of equipment, the cost of buying equipment and stuff like that right now, like, buddy, it got to be getting harder and harder to make a go out of this.
It is. It's part of business, you know. I mean, you're gonna have ups and you're gonna have your downs. That you got to do it, you know.
Yeah.
But fortunately, we have, you know, relationships with brands, and we also have a lot of gear that, you know, we bought before that's still good.
Right.
You know, that's you know, yeah, they get the wear and tear, but it's part of it, man. I mean, we got to do it. It's got to be done. We have customers coming either way.
Yeah.
So
that's a good attitude to have. It really is. I think it's the only attitude you can have if you want to succeed. It, you just got to roll with it. And because if you think you're going to make a pile of money without spending any money, well, then yeah, you're probably going to be disappointed.
You got to spend money to make money.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah. Listen, it wouldn't be cool if I didn't bring up this redneck ingenuity that Bobby had on the go before we hit the record button. Because, buddy, I have never heard of it. And I want you to make a video of your son ripping around on this. So for those that's wondering, and sorry, Micah, buddy, we're still going to talk about the outfit, but I just want to talk about this now. If you're wondering what we're talking about, I always come down here, set everything up early, just in case something goes wrong. So I set everything up and I see the notification, Bobby's ready to join the meeting. So I admit him. And all I see is his back because he's over to the coffee machine. And I said, hey, what's up? And he was like, oh, I didn't realize you were here. He was like, give me a second. I just made a coffee. I got to go put a battery in a Power Wheels. I was like, oh, okay, whatever. Cool. So then he comes back. It's not your ordinary battery, ladies and gentlemen. No, not in Kansas.
He is running 18-volt rigids right now, 5 amperes.
So Micah's telling me about seeing him ripping around on this in this friggin' what was it you said?
It's a little Power Wheel Jeep.
Yeah.
Looks like it needs new ball joints because he's got the front tires going like this.
Yeah, I pulled up to his house one day and we were gonna blow him some calls and hang out, and he's out there just, drifting in the driveway, slid into the cars, you don't know how to handle that much power.
It is the noisiest thing in the world because inside them plastic tires, the gravel it's gotten inside. So it's like he's driving maracas around.
Oh yeah, I'm on the phone too, trying to have a conversation. I'm like, huh? What are you saying?
So the impressive thing is that you're figuring, and you don't have this down exact, but you're figuring he's getting close to like 11, 12 miles an hour.
Oh, so my zero turn goes 12-ish. It gets up there. It's fast. It's a Ferris commercial mower. It's fast, right? Pops the wheel, he can floor it. And he damn near keeps up with it. When I'm mowing, he'll go through about 3 batteries while I mow the yard.
That's insane. And and then Micah goes, well, you gotta upgrade them now to gas.
Well, and the farmer was I got a farmer neighbor that I hang out with a lot. And he was over here watching this circus of batteries. And he told me he's got a little 4-wheeler stuck in the shed. Nobody's rode for a while, so I got to go get that and see if I can get that running. That way I can have my drill batteries back.
Yeah.
I've never seen. I want to see this, man. I really want to see.
Oh, dude, it's all over YouTube.
Really?
Now I'm a hillbilly, so I don't have the fancy little battery connector.
Right.
I just take those little, like the little male end of the spade connector, and I just bend it over.
Okay. Yeah.
Hang out of it and slide it into the
to the female end.
Battery. Yeah.
Yeah. I get what you
know. They make a rigid or DeWalt connector you can put on and with the pigtails. Yeah.
Yeah. They didn't have those when my kids were rocking that Mustang.
But he goes through 2 or 3 Power Wheels a year.
Whoa.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm down to where I just buy them used off Facebook Market. Rerun the wheels off of them and they go into the burn pile. Yeah.
Insane. But now and then Micah goes, yeah, well, my young fella who's a big kid anyways, but now he's rocking what? Is he on like a 200cc quad now?
It's I think like a 125 or something like that.
Still,
he's out there just, the thing will go like 25 with me on it. I'm 6'4" adult, and he's 80 pounds, 4 foot. He's out there just
that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. Aren't you worried he's gonna like hurt himself? Yeah, he probably will, but he'll only do it once.
Yep, exactly. That's done and over with. He's smart about it.
Yeah.
Kids bounce pretty good.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And you need to have some bumps and bruises in order to know what you can get away with, right?
We're too damn safe anymore.
Oh,
Yeah.
but I'm guilty. Not now. Now I look back on it and I realize just how coddling my wife and I were. Like we were pretty silly over our kids when they were small. And now I look back at it and I'm like, man, like I wasn't treated like that when I grew up. So I don't know where it came from at all.
You go to a baseball or softball game now, and kids got ear protection, eye protection, face shields. Good Lord.
Oh no, I'm not
I
that
don't know how
bad.
they can see to play.
Yeah, I wasn't like that, but I was pretty coddling, like, but I don't know why I was, because I wasn't. We used to go camping all the time. My son ended up hanging out with meeting this kid who was a couple years older than him, and the kid had a pocket knife, right? So he come to me. So I would say my son was probably, I'll say he was 7 years old at the time. And he was like, Dad, I want a pocket knife. And I was like, yeah, you should have a pocket knife. So I went and I bought him the same pocket knife that every one of us all had, our first one, that little buck knife, just a single blade. You just tear it out, right? And I said to him, I said, listen, buddy, this doesn't come to school with you. You don't take it out when you're out hanging out with your friends, riding bikes. Down at the camper, when you're in the woods and you're playing in the woods, that's when you play with it, right? Yeah, no problem, Dad. So we're driving to our campsite, and he said, Dad, can I have the knife? And I'm like, yeah, we're about a half hour away. I was like, sure, you can have your knife. My wife goes, he's going to cut himself. I'm like, 100% he's going to cut himself. Guaranteed he's going to cut himself, but he's only going to cut himself once. Never had the words out of my mouth. Dad, you got any Band-Aids? I'm like, there you go. First cut, done. I never ever had to worry about it after that.
There's a scar on that finger right there I still got from my first pocket knife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It happens to all of us.
I was 4 or 5. Yeah. That's also the last time I cried over getting hurt. Yep.
Yeah.
That was when my dad explained you can't have the knife back if you cry. You're old enough to have it when you don't cry because you got hurt.
There you go. That was enough of that.
You know, speaking of kids, so we were at last week and we did Rogers Waterfowl weekend.
Okay, yeah.
Bobby.
Yeah.
And this kid came up. Bobby, what was he? Maybe 8 or 10 years old.
Yeah.
And he come up and he picked up one of these calls and started blowing it. And I was like taken back at first. I was like, oh man, this kid knows what
Can
he's
run.
doing.
Yeah.
Bobby gets a hold of Collins. He's like, hey, follow me. And these two were in sync, just ripping it.
Really?
Ripping it. You know, it was so cool. Wasn't it, Bobby? I mean, just,
oh, dude, I tell you what, kids have a knack for copying call sounds.
Yeah.
They don't have any preconceived thing in their head.
They don't overthink it, is what it is.
No. So, dude, like the best way to learn to blow a call is if you can get with somebody that knows how to do it and you just repeat, right?
Okay.
You know, when you're trying to figure that out, you got to have the sound in your head,
Mhm.
right? And if you're like me, like the sound on, I'll just lose the sound,
Mhm.
right? Like if it's a new thing I've never heard, like I just can't remember it, right?
Okay.
So if you're with somebody and they make the sound, you can start trying to repeat the sound. But dude, I'm telling you, kids, women do this as well.
yeah.
They just have a knack for repeating. If they just have some basics, it's crazy how fast you can teach a kid to blow a call. Like crazy.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, like that kid he's talking about, like an hour, and that kid would be way above average on a call. Just
I mean,
from repeating.
Yeah. He was already, I think, above average. I mean, that kid.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh, dude. I mean, it was really like mind blowing for me. I was like,
dude, a guy, if he's blown on a call for a while and he's trying to get better, it takes a lot to change what he does. But like we had another guy, he bought a call, and then I think he bought it for his wife because he brought her over to the booth for a lesson, and dude, she quacked in less than a minute.
yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
It's because they don't overthink it. I'm sure that's because that's like in the military, like we used to have this, like women are naturally better shots than men. So shoot in a prone position, shooting at a target, no stress, just sitting behind we call them C7s, but it's an M16.
Right.
Same gun platform, but sitting behind that gun in a prone position, shooting paper, 9 times out of 10, a woman will shoot better than a man. that like first time shooters. I got to add that in there, right?
So dude, I've shot a pile in my life. I did competition trap. I used to
Yeah.
shoot races, Annie Oakley for money, like 5 nights a week, right?
Wow.
And but I have never been around a lot of girls that shoot or hunt, right? So
Right.
my 11-year-old girl, she hit about 105 last year, so she could handle a 20 gauge, like no problem, right?
Mm-hmm.
Dude, that girl went through maybe a box and a half of shells, and she's now this is straight behind the thrower, right? So the easy shot.
Oh, of course.
You know,
but
you're
still.
only standing 5 yards away from the thrower, maybe 3, right?
Mm-hmm.
Dude, she was 21, 22 out of a box in an hour.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, like it was nothing.
They they don't overthink it.
Yeah.
And if my wife is listening, you overthink everything else that I do except shooting. Except shooting.
Like the only special thing I did with that is I live in a walnut grove.
Okay.
So I put it to where she had to shoot it. She couldn't sit there and wait on it to fall.
Okay.
It would get into the tree, right?
Right.
But you could see the leaves, whether you're in front of it or behind it.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So
I get you.
A little visual. And as soon as she figured out a lead, done. Yeah. Like she shot her own damn limit of doves that same year. Like it's ridiculous.
Really?
Yeah. Now, yeah.
Please, when I do come down and hunt, let's not bring your daughter because I do not need to be made fun of.
I didn't take a gun. I just sat down there with her and oh yeah, dude, she had no problem. Like I figured we were gonna go a box or two.
Mm-hmm.
Oh hell no, she mowed them down.
Wow.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. But no, dude, kids will just pick up calling so fast.
And Micah, you had mentioned something about kids earlier, and I don't want to open this up so that every kid in Kansas is now reaching out to you and looking to go on a hunt. But you did mention like you've got a lot of time for the youth to come out and experience the outdoors and get into hunting. Like you do you're trying to promote it as much as you can, right?
Yeah. Yeah, of course. I mean, anytime a kid wants to go hunting, I'm never going to say you can't,
Right.
I mean, we have a lot of property leased, and I don't want to make it to where the kids can't enjoy hunting anymore.
That's amazing.
If the kid wants to learn about hunting, like, okay, hey, if we have an extra bed at the lodge, it's open right now. Come help the guides. You'll get the full experience of what we're doing.
Yeah.
And they enjoy that. It's something that I enjoy too, because, in the outdoors, it's not just about, the guys that can afford it. It needs to be for the kids so they can do that. You want to be a mentor. You want to help people,
Yeah. I really wish Dave was on the episode right now, because that's Dave's and not that I'm anti kids, but that's Dave's biggest goal at the beginning of every season and he sort of kind of sets these crazy goals of how many kids he's going to get out on their first hunt this year. Right. And that's, so you and Dave would have some pretty good conversations, because he's very much on that same line of thought as you are, right? So it's pretty amazing when you think about it. And it's sad at the same time that the hunting world is lean. I think down in your neck of the woods, it's a little bit more just because you guys have more hunting pressure down there, right? As opposed to up here, we don't have the numbers that you guys have, right? So, for you to be able to ensure that you're trying to keep bringing kids out and introducing more and more youth to hunting, it only bodes well for the industry, right? Like, yeah, listen, it's great to have a millionaire that's coming that you can bank on every year to come to your lodge. That's awesome. And don't get me wrong, but when you can introduce a kid to hunting and that's going to be their passion for life, buddy, that's pretty special.
Yeah, it is.
Man, it doesn't matter if you make duck calls, you guide hunts, you make duck decoys. It doesn't matter what you do.
Mm-hmm.
If you do not if you do not help guys hunt better, be
Mm-hmm.
successful, you're losing clients.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. I agree.
So, and I mean, that's like those Micah helping kids hunt, a calling class.
Mm-hmm.
These guys, they have to have some level of success to keep buying a license. Like nobody goes out to the marsh 12 times, never shoots anything, and then buys a license for the next year.
Mm-hmm.
So, dude, just a little encouragement.
That's right.
Just one more duck that season. You know, like if a kid goes with one of Micah's guides and he figures out how to call a bird better, dude, just that little bit is enough to keep somebody hunting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. Bobby, I can remember when you, myself, and Eric Massey had done a couple shows back last year when the season was on the go. And I can remember you bringing that up exactly, like success, like what I determine, what I feel as success to what another person deems success could be totally different, right? So if one year a new hunter gets 2 ducks, and then the next year he hits 4 ducks.
That may be 4 times better than he's ever done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's winning. Like you're winning.
Yeah.
You're figuring it out. You're learning. You're a better shot. You're hiding better. You're calling better. Your spread looks better. There's so many things. And I forget your buddy. Remember, I forget his name now. I'm sorry. Your friend there that was from Texas, the dairy for Dave. Yeah. Like he had come on and that's how he had started, right? And he had said like every time I was just getting better and better and better and better, where now it became, all right, now it's like I'm here. I'm here where I want to be, and it's awesome. But it was always a continual increase in success, right?
Well, yeah, and like I said, if you're in the position to help somebody get better at this, it's especially if you make a living off of any part of it, it's in your best interest to help people.
Yep.
Absolutely. Yeah, it can't be all take, and that's what that's what Dave and I, you know, there's times when we contemplate doing things, and sometimes I don't want to say that sometimes it's a hard decision to make, but sometimes you look at it and you go, listen, man, it can't always be take. There got to be, and that's a conversation that him and I'll have where we're like, listen, it can't always be we can't always be taken from people. We got to give stuff back too, right?
Well, I don't know if we want to get on this rabbit hole, but see, that's like one of my main issues with YouTube and social.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
If you're a YouTuber, it seems like it's constant take.
Yeah.
Like the YouTube comes before the waterfowl tradition.
Like how so? How so? So if you're concerned only about,
you're more apt to get the views than you are to put your best foot forward on the respect.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, I agree with you on that.
So it all falls into that category.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, Micah. What do you think, buddy? Me and Bobby talk about social all the time. So social and YouTube. So we talk about it a ton. So this is all old hat for me when it comes to this.
I mean, yes, I mean, I agree. You know, social's a big part of, you know, what we're doing. You know,
so like, how much do you rely on social media and the videos, that side of your advertising? How much do you rely on it?
I need to rely on it more. I can tell you that. And that's
okay.
what I'm planning on doing.
Right.
But just for what we got going on, but you know, I have some really good relationships, and I rely, I think, more on my myself,
your reputation,
my reputation, and my ability to never meet a stranger, you know, and communicate and build relationships.
Well, you know, it's not like you're reinventing the wheel when you say that, right? Like how many businesses and guide outfits operated solely on that for years and years and years and years before social. right? And
I'd
that
say-
this is, yeah, go for it. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I'd say like now, and I guess it would be like, even the past, few years, it's more about, what they capture on video, and
Mhm.
that's what's drawing people's attention, and I've probably haven't been doing enough of that,
Mhm.
I'd say, but it's not something that I'm very worried about just because
Right.
of what I
Yeah.
already have.
Yeah.
So
Well, I'll tell you, dude. So anymore with like I use Shopify, and the amount that Shopify tracks where sales comes from is pretty good.
Yeah.
So about 10% of my gross comes from social media. So
Really.
it's not nothing, but it's not a whole lot, right? It's one of those things like if it went away, it wouldn't be devastating,
Right.
but it is good to have.
Right. Right.
Yeah. So
Whereas we're on the opposite spectrum of what Dave and I are doing. We rely 100% on social, on YouTube, right?
now,
And
if my brand had to rely solely on social, I would be very worried because I always in the back of my mind think they may not let us participate on there at some point.
well, so
They may limit how we participate.
yeah. So when you say that you'd be worried, I'm just going to tell you, like, this is where I live. Like, this is my house.
Right.
I'm joking.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we make zero money.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like we're trying to promote, relationships, promote businesses, and do that sort of thing without going under that actually, we don't need to go into what I'm all about, but you know what I mean? Like we rely on the social media, on the internet more so than what you guys would.
Well, no, the internet would be different than social. Like a lot of my business comes off Google and the website, but just like on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook.
Okay, yeah, I get you.
Yeah,
but then
if it went away tomorrow, like it wouldn't devastate my business.
Right. Yeah. And for me, it would devastate my business.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know, dude. Spotify is becoming a big thing.
It is.
So it may not. Like everybody just may shift.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite possible. But then you look at Micah, and he's created a reputation that, like, he's self admitting, I need to spend more time on it, but
would it devastate you if social was down tomorrow, Micah?
probably not.
No.
Yeah.
No, it wouldn't. If you're providing a quality service and people are walking away, because everybody knows if you've got a buddy that'll promote something, you'll listen to your buddy before you will the 5 stars on Facebook.
Now, don't get me wrong. Like, I love social because I love to be able to talk to everybody on social. Like, it's super convenient for that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you look at my feed, there's not a lot of sales pitch that happens on my feed. I use it more for educational.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which have been awesome. So I'm going to stop us here because we're over our 60 minutes, but I did want to give you a chance, Bobby. I did want you to talk about those videos that you've been doing. No, okay. and I'm serious, buddy, because they are quality videos with a ton of educational stuff that people should really be listening to. So if you're not, and here's my part where I promote Ducklander Calls, go on his social media and on his YouTube channel and on his website and sign up to be in the Duck Tribe, because the amount of stuff that Bobby's pushing out that will make you a better hunter, I challenge you to find a better source first off, because I don't think you will find somebody that's putting better information out there. So please go do that on my behalf. Make sure you say that Punisher sent you so that he knows. I
gotta get me a kickback.
Yeah. But no, Bobby, go for it, buddy, because you've always been, like, even way back the first time when we met, like, so 4 or 5 years ago, when you were doing your calling lessons online, like even way back, right when you started, you've always said, if you can make a person a better caller or a better hunter, you think you're succeeding. And you've always done that.
Well, I'm super grateful that I make a living off of waterfowl.
Yeah.
So, I mean, which I do. I make a living off of ducks and geese. I sell duck calls, but I
Yeah.
make it off of birds. Without the birds, nobody wants these calls.
Yeah.
So you got to give something back.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a knack for teaching people how to blow a call.
Mm-hmm.
So I used to do a lot of YouTube. We're doing more YouTube now. Then for a while I had a page on Facebook where you could post a video and I'd get back on there and reply with a video. But this dang social changes so much.
All the time.
It changes so fast. You'll have something going and they'll change the platform and then you got to switch it up. So like this year, we're back to doing video again. So I'm putting video instruction on how to blow calls. I did one on a 20 gauge, one on 12 gauge the other day. If I get time tomorrow, I'm going to throw one up on how I pattern a shotgun. And
yeah, good one.
I don't tell anybody like this is how to do it. This is how I do this stuff. If it helps you, you get something out of it, great.
Awesome.
So I'm gonna grow these over this year. We'll gather a bunch of content during the season, and I'm gonna start bringing some more people in on these. Like Micah will be in on them.
Awesome.
You guys are gonna start to hear. I hunt with a guy named Shannon. Super good dude. You're gonna start to hear from him. You're gonna Dave from Texas.
Yeah.
And then probably a guy named Brendan. Super particular guy. Really good killer of ducks. We're just going to start to bring them in those conversations.
Yeah, good.
Not long form, like hour-long podcasts, just simple things like this is the pond, this is the wind, the scout, how are you going to set it up?
Yeah.
Because we're all going to set it up a little different even though we hunt together.
Yeah, absolutely.
When there's four of us out there, we all got an idea, but we hunt together a lot, so everybody's compromising for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
It makes the group good. But I want to know, like, how would you do it? How would you do it? Yeah. So
that's awesome.
So I'm going to try to build the biggest platform of educational videos that are around.
You heard it here first.
That's my goal.
You heard it here first on the Union 0430. Bobby Hayes is going to start a monopoly on duck hunting education.
That's the goal.
That's the goal. Hey, buddy, I think you're off to a good start.
There's a ton of people watching them. I'd love it if people give me feedback on them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, if I post a video on something and you like it, dislike it, whatever, throw a comment up. Let me know what you think of it.
Yeah.
So, or if you want something else I haven't done, throw it up. Because what I may think is not important, it may be super important to somebody to know.
I really like the one you done the other day on the making so you alone can make the sound of 3 different hens.
Yes.
I like that because I'm not a great caller by no means, and I don't put a whole lot of thought behind it. I just get behind a call and I blow into a call and it seems to work.
The thing. Some of this is easy. Like if you've got one good hen, you can just change that with cadence to make.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily a different hen.
Yeah.
It's the same tone.
Yeah.
But it's a different sound. Like technically a different hen would be a different pitch.
Right.
But if you can only manage one good hen, you can change it up with cadence. That's something anybody can do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then you done the one on the duck whistle, and I'm telling you now, my normal crew of fellas that I hunt with, like I hunt with some fellas that are really good callers, so I'll never break out a hen call. Right. But my duck whistle, that Drake whistle, buddy, when I go out with people that I've only hunted with for the first time and they're wailing on a call and I break that thing out, you should see the eyeballs on people. They're like, what are you doing? And I'm like, have you heard? Like, have you not heard? Like, you guys, there's 4 of you wailing on a hen call and there's no dudes.
Well, like for us, like we were talking about those bachelor drakes in January.
Yeah.
When you're scouting, like if you walk up on the river, you're not going to hear hens.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to hear drakes. I mean, you might hear a few, but it's going to be, even when the ducks are coming in, there's just so many drakes. That's what you're going to predominantly hear.
Well,
yeah. You know, the thing about that whistle is you kind of got to get some guys over the macho aspect.
Yeah.
Running the reed.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's a good tool.
Oh, buddy, I love it. And I tell you what, I would say if I've got ducks working in front of me, if I pull that out, because obviously I'm not calling on every fucking duck that comes in front of me.
Right.
But if I bet you I'm at a 75 to 80% success rate when I pull that Drake whistle out.
It's one
And
of those
and I'm confident to say that.
if they want noise,
Yeah.
but they don't want that hen that day,
Yeah.
you can make noise with that all the way until the gun goes off without ever scaring a duck.
All right. We could go on for another hour on this. Micah, buddy. Any last words? Because me and Bobby just hijacked the last 15 minutes of your episode.
Oh, I appreciate you having me on, and we'll just keep it going.
Yeah, buddy. I'd love to have you back on towards the end of the season, like when things slow down for you and you have some time to be able to sit down and talk about your season. I'd love to have you back on and talk about it and give some stories and stuff like that.
Podcast when Severance is in camp.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Dude, he sings and plays the guitar and he breaks
there you go.
List and he'll play Waylon Jennings for me all night.
Oh yeah, he's a character. The banter when he's there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. And that's the stuff I think that's the stuff that more people that are, if you are at all hesitant with regards to paying that money, because let's face it, everyone's working hard for every cent that they make these days, and sometimes it takes a little justification in your brain to say, okay, I'm going to spend this money on a hunt. And sometimes they just need to see that, listen, it's more than just about the birds. There's a lot more that happens at the lodge, on the trip to the birds, on the scout, on the cleaning, the meal back at the lodge. There's a ton of stuff that's happening that's just friggin' hilarious, really. That's the way I always look at it, because the best laughs I have is sometimes just sitting around a pile of dudes cleaning birds.
Micah, how do they get a hold of you?
Give me a shout out at 913-238-0217, or visit our website at bigkansaswhitetails.com.
And I will, on this, when this drops on Monday, Micah, I will tag you guys in it. I'll send it to your social. I'll shoot you a message with the links and everything, and you can post it all up. Use it however you want. It's yours, buddy. You do whatever with it that you want to do. And buddy, I hope it would warm the cockles of my heart if your phone starts ringing off the hook after this episode drops. If you call me, if you message me and go, Damien, I'm sold out, all because of your show, buddy, you have no idea how good that'll make me feel. So please.
Hey, I know we're over our hour, but I haven't made a post about this yet.
Okay.
Rogers was insane this year. So
this is
calls came up and talked to us, dude. It was there. I would assume there was over 15,000 people there this year.
So that was something that I asked you the other day when you and Micah were on. I thought Rogers was a chain. So here's my Canadian ignorance coming out. But it's a one shot in Kansas City.
One shot, Liberty, Missouri. Yeah.
Oh,
dude,
Liberty. Okay,
I've
I thought
been
it was
going in that store since I was 6 years old.
Really.
Yeah, there used to be two of them, and I believe, hopefully I don't get this wrong, I think the guy that owns it now, his brother used to also have one. And dude, they just sold lures because it used to be Rogers Lures. But,
really?
yeah, I've been going in that place buying lures since I was 80, like my boy's size. Oh yeah. Yeah, his dad, like the store they're at now, they moved to, they were down the road, but his dad made the best flipping jigs. They sat by the register, he hand tied them. They were like the first flipping jig you could, this is in the 90s, that you could get with like an actual high quality hook on them. Yeah, they were, I think, a quarter. They sat in a box. Yeah.
25 cents.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because they were big tournament fishing guys. But yeah, oh no, that store now is so big.
And that's impressive, because you had said to me about the numbers of people, like you're expecting, like you're estimating 15 to 20,000 people came through there.
Say, Micah, you got good knowledge on that. You've done a lot of shows.
Yeah, I'd say, yeah, 25,000 people.
Just a lot. It was a lot of people.
So
It
which
was
is
awesome.
impressive, because for the last, we gotta sum this up, but for the last few years, the thought has been that these outdoor shows were dying, that people
Dude,
didn't want to.
that one grows every year.
That's insane. I love it. I love to hear it.
It's I mean, dude, like my booth, Micah, did we talk to people solid from what, 8 to 4?
Oh yeah, before 8. Yeah,
mean-
there's people waiting an hour to outside the store, and they were just
Really,
talking our ears off.
Yeah, there's so many people that come to that.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, fellas. Bobby, thanks for this, buddy. Micah, thank you so much for coming on, man, and doing this with us. It's good because you just rolled with it. Just like before we hit record, I said, "Is there anything you want to talk about?" And you were like, "Let's just let her roll." And that's the way we do things around here. So you fit in great with us, buddy. Thanks so much. I wish you nothing but the most success this upcoming season. Be safe, have fun. And I really do want to have you come back on at the end of the season and talk about how things went. You've got an open invite. You can come on anytime you want. All you got to do is fire me a message and say, "Hey, I got something I want to talk about," and we'll make sure we get you on, dude.
All right, sounds good. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely, buddy. Anytime. Bobby, thanks so much for this. Listen, if you're still listening to this and we haven't bored you and you're gone, listen, we are doing a Ducks Unlimited fundraiser on the 19th, 20th.
Usually locks up once a show.
Oh, did I lock up?
Yep.
Okay. Am I good?
Yeah, you're good. I'm good. I think
Okay.
Bob,
It's Bobby, not me. It's Bobby. Good. Thanks, Micah. Because he fucking rips me on my internet all the time. So
I told him if I ever run into Elon Musk, I'm gonna tap him right in the nuts.
That's awesome. So I'm doing Dave and I will be at a Ducks Unlimited fundraiser on the 19th, 20th, 21st of August, and we will be carrying a good solid lineup of Ducklander calls there. So if you are looking for, in my opinion, the best duck call on the market, we'll have them at this show. They'll be at our booth. We're doing a booth throughout the day, and then in the evening we're having the fundraising dinner. So you want a Ducklander call, come on by our booth and we'll hook you up. Everybody, this was episode 108 of the Union 0430. Micah Collins from Big Kansas Whitetails, Bobby Hayes from Ducklander Calls. Thanks, boys. It's awesome. Big love. Be safe, everybody. Don't be douchebags to one another. Until next time. Ciao.
See ya.